Good morning. This is fourth lecture in the series on group actions. Today we are going to talk about group actions which involve linear algebra. So depending upon how conversant you are with the interactions or the relations between the matrices and linear maps, okay, the close connection between them, it could be easy. But anyway, as usual, I will try to be explain those preliminaries also. But if necessary, whenever there is a needed, please pause the video, go through it. Once you are convinced, go ahead. Okay. Is it all right? Okay. So let me just start sharing the screen. I hope this is on. Yes. Yeah. So the very first thing is, as I said, the preliminary is the close relationship between matrices and linear maps. In fact, I plan to produce a separate video on this, but what we will do will be quick. Okay. Hereafter, when I write K, it could be any field, but R, in particular R or C. In one case, I need it to be algebraic closed field or C. I will mention it at that point. All right. Okay. So let's assume now when I write Mn, this stands for Mn of K, that is all n square matrix of size n or with entries in K, or when I write n cross m, these all matrices with the n rows and m columns. Please note that I am not writing m cross n, I am writing n cross m. Okay, with entries of course in K. All right. Okay. Now suppose you are given a matrix A n cross m over the field K, I can think of it as a linear map from the space Km, the vector space Km to Kn. Okay, what is this Km? Km is K cross m times, and I will usually write any vector in these spaces as column vectors. Unlike algebra, most often, okay, similarly when I write y is in Kn, it will be y1, y2, yn. Is it okay? So remember, my vectors will always be column vectors. The reason is this. Now suppose A is an n cross m matrix, and if X is a vector in Km, which is a column vector, which is of size m cross 1, the matrix product makes sense. Ax, this is a matrix product. This is n cross m, and this is m cross 1. Therefore, this will be an n cross 1, that is an element of k power n. You understand that? Therefore, each A defines, and it's well known that this x going to Ax as a map from Km to Kn is linear over K, of course. Okay, these are all known. Okay, two things I need to understand very well about this. As usual, we will write the standard basic vectors, okay, as Ei. This will be m cross 1 vector, which will be 0, 1 at ith place and 0 elsewhere. And for Kn, I will write a same basic vector. Since I don't want to write Ei, I will call it Fj, but it is 0, 1 and 0, and now it's a jth place. And this is an n cross 1, this is m cross 1. That is a column vector here and column vector there. Okay. The basic thing one has to learn is what is A of E1. Notice that this is a vector, therefore this makes sense. This will be vector here. You can see if I write A as A11, A12, A1, how many things have to be there? Column vectors will be M columns, right? Yeah. and A21, A22, A2M, and AN1, AN2, ANM. Then AE1 is the first column. You can quickly check the A into, let us write 100. Then what will you do is the first column. And similarly, A of EI will be ith column. You understand that? Right. This is the very basic knowledge I want you to learn. And this can be seen in the reverse direction. Now suppose I have a vector, yeah, let us call it a vector V in Km. The same thing will work with Kn also, it's a different thing, okay? With Km. Then I can write it as linear combination of xi, ei, I equal to 1T. And this is what we write as a column vector. When I write B equal to x1, x2, xm, what it stands for is, it is summation xi ei. Do you understand this? Right. Now the beauty is, suppose you give me an ordered basis v1 to vm, okay, let me call it u1 to um, ordered basis. Ordered basis meaning we know what is the first element of the set, what is the second element, what is the mth element. That is why it's called ordered basis. Okay, ordered basis of k power m. Right. Then you can write this v, okay, as, let us say I write vi as summation a ji ej. That's going to be, okay, what is it going to be? It's going to be a 1i, a 2i, a mi. You understand this? I'm writing as a column now. Okay, that is b. Okay, in terms of the coordinates, what I call xi, since it depends on I, I'm calling it as a different notation. Aj, ej, that will be, I will write it as a1i, a2i, ami. Okay, I'm not writing this aij, ej. Again, notice the difference. Okay, right. Now, what happens is, if I call this a matrix A as, okay, I call this as V1, V2, Vm, okay, where V1 is a column vector, this one, A11, A21, Am1. Vm will be A1m, A2m, Amm. You understand this? The thought of this column vectors. Right? Now notice that since this is a basis, this A is non-singular because all its columns are linearly independent. Not only that, by our very construction, A of Ej will be Vj. Can you see that? Yes? Yeah. So, once you given a basis, okay, I can write these vectors, the basic vectors, as a linear combination, stack them as the ith basic vector, I stack as the ith column of a matrix. Then this resultant matrix takes Ej to Vj. Of course, the same thing I could do with respect to Fi and Fj and etc. here on Rn or Kn. Okay, pause, review, and proceed. Okay. Now, the gist of what I said can be understood in a slightly different way. If you take GLNK or GLMK, whatever it is, this n cross n invertible matrices over K, Okay. Then if I write A as the first column, second column, and nth column, then C1, C2, Cn. Okay. Notice that each Ci will correspond to a vector Vi. That is going to be A, Ji, E, Fj on Rn. Okay. I am considering on K power n, and the vectors are Fj. You understand this? Don't get confused, because you may not have seen this way of thinking, so it may take a little time, but that's it. Okay. Right. So what do we want to say? Therefore, if I look at this, these Vi form a basis, an ordered basis of Kn. So any non-singular matrix, n cross n matrix, gives a basis, an ordered basis for Kn. This is the what we have seen so far. Okay, please think carefully, do that. Okay, is there anything else I would like to say? I think this should be enough. Let's look at the first example now. If something is needed, I will come back. I hope you will allow me. Okay, the first example of the day is this. Let us look at GLN or K acting on Kn. Remember, those who are uncomfortable with K can assume K to be R or C. Okay, how does it act? Obvious way. Remember, my Kns are column vectors of size n cross 1. If you think of them as matrices, they are of the type n cross 1, this is 1. Therefore, you give me an A here and you give me a vector x here, then A dot x is Ax. This is the matrix multiplication. Which makes sense. Just now we have seen it. Okay. Now this is a group action. You can check it's a group action. Identity will be identity, and x going to Ax, and that along with B goes to B of Ax. But remember, these are all multiplication of matrices, which is okay. Therefore, it's some kind of associativity is there. Therefore, it's same as BA acting on X. Yeah. Therefore, it's a group action. Very good. Now let's look at what is the simplest vector you can think of in Kn. I want to look at the orbit of that. Yes. All of you would have guessed it. Take x equal to the 0 vector. Right. Now what is A dot 0? Remember, that's 0. Therefore, the orbit of 0 is this singleton 0. That must be a set, so you should not write equal to 0. It should be written as a set. Okay, that's it. Right. Okay. Now what is the next simplest vector I can think of? A non-zero vector in Kn. Yes. Yeah. Take x equal to E1 or F1. Okay. When there is no confusion, please allow me to use EI over Kn also. Whenever there is Km and Kn, then I will distinguish. Is it all right? I hope you understand. Okay. Now what is A of E1? So the orbit of E1 is a collection A of E1 where A varies over GLN. Right? But I know what is A of U1. This is the first column vectors. First columns of the matrix A. This is nothing other than collection of all first columns of A as A varies over GLN. Right? This is a collection. Very good. Is that it? Okay. Now notice that A of U1. Notice that A of U1 could not be 0. Why? Because if it is 0, then the matrix will be A of U1 will be 0, 0, 0, 0 into something else, right? Yeah, that will mean A of U1 is 0. That means A is singular. But our assumption is A belongs to GLN, therefore this is correct. Do all of you agree? A of E1 could never be 0. If it is 0, then the matrix, if you are unconvinced, then the matrix A of E1 is the first column. Therefore, this is my A, right? Therefore, now take the determinant, it will be 0. You understand? Okay, right. So this is non-zero. Very good. Therefore, what I know is orbit of E1 is contained in Kn minus 0. I claim it is equality. Okay, that means this holds. Okay, that is, give me any non-zero vector B in Kn, then it B equal to A of E1 for some A, where in GLN. That's very clear. Why? Because B is non-zero vector, right? Therefore, I can put V1 equal to V, and B is non-zero, therefore this is linearly independent set. By the basic results from linear algebra, I know there exists a basis. It can be extended to a basis V1, V2, Vn of Kn. So extend this to a basis, and this is an ordered basis. Therefore, with respect to standard basic vectors E1, E2, En of Kn, you write V1, V2, Vn as a column vectors, as I said in the beginning, right? Therefore, let me A write V equal to, as we did, column vector A, let us say 1, 1, A 2, 1, and A n 1, and so on. This is my V equal to V1. Therefore, and similarly V2 equal to something. In general, Vi equal to, where should I come? I should come here, Ni. Okay. Therefore, this is my V1, V2, Vn. Now we have seen, okay, this is a non-singular matrix because the columns are linearly independent, and A of E1 is precisely your V1, and that is equal to B. So what I have shown now? I have shown that when GLN K acts, okay, on Kn, there are exactly 2 orbits. Very fantastic. You see that? One orbit consists of only 0, other orbit consists of all non-zero elements. That's it. Because what did you show? Take any E1, take E1, then the orbit of E1 is V. And notice that if I take any, therefore V belong to orbit of E1, then I know orbit of V is same as orbit of E1. This we have seen earlier. In under any group action, if Y belong to orbit of X, then orbit of Y is same as orbit of X. Okay, that's how we define equivalence relation. You understand? Therefore, okay, start with any non-zero element, its orbit will be all non-zero elements, set of all non-zero elements. Therefore, exactly 2 orbits are there under GLN action on Kn. Okay, please pause, review, proceed. Okay. Now I want to look at a slightly more involved example. Okay. I hope all of you know when now I am going to take K equal to R. So all of you know, when do I say, in fact, I don't require any matrix, n cross n matrix with real entries, that's good enough. This is not equal to, sorry. A belong to M and R. I say A is orthogonal if and only if A transpose equal to A transpose A equal to identity element, n cross n identity. Okay, all of you know this, right? And you also know equivalent characterization. If I write A as column vector C1, C2, Cn, okay, then I can think of A transpose A, right? These are all column vectors. You understand that? Or I can also write as A as row vectors R1, R2, Rn. Okay. So either I can write as the matrix as column vectors or row like this. Okay, in terms of rows. Then you see that, then this makes sense. A transpose must be identity is same as saying Ri dot Rj, which is Ri into Rj transpose must be delta Ij. Okay, so you get the identity matrix. So please check if you have not learned this. Similarly, when I want to construct A transpose A, then what will I do is I take A as a column matrix. Therefore, this will be C1 transpose, C2 transpose, Cn transpose. This is a row into C1, C2, Cn. Again, this will tell me Ci, Cj dot. This is the dot product. This is same as Ci, Cj transpose. This will be delta Ij. So what I have shown is another matrix, n cross n matrix is orthogonal if and only if the column vectors form an orthonormal basis of R power n. And similarly, the row forms an orthonormal basis. Okay. But when you say rows, then it will be, I have to consider Rn as a, not as a column space, as a row space. Okay. Anyway, I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, good. So with this preliminary, now what I want to do is the following. Now notice that the this is the orthogonal group. This is a group. Again, it's all known, well known, orthogonal group. And On is a subset of GL and R. It's actually a subgroup. Why? Remember, this cannot be say singular because A transpose equal to identity. Using the determinant of the product is product of the determinant, you actually will see determinant of A must be plus or minus 1 because determinant of A is same as determinant of A transpose. Therefore, this will mean determinant of A squared must be equal to 1. That means determinant of A must be plus or minus 1. Therefore, it's non-zero determinant and hence it's an invertible matrix. Okay. Therefore, this is being a subgroup of this, its On also acts on now on Rn via the matrix action. A dot x equal to the matrix product Ax, where x again I am writing as column vectors. And this is with respect to the standard orthogonal basis Xiei. Okay, right. Okay. So this is our group now, not the full group, but it's only the subgroup of orthogonal matrices. Now, as we did in the earlier case, orbit of zero vector will be of course singleton 0. This is very easy. Now what I want to know, what will be the orbit of E1. Okay. This is what we want to understand. So let A be an orthogonal matrix. I want to look at A of E1. Now remember, A of E1 is nothing other than, if I write A as column vector C1 to Cn, A of E1 is nothing other than C1, the column vector. And notice that we have just now said the column vectors are orthogonal matrix form on orthonormal basis. Therefore, when I consider C1, namely if we write C1 as A11, A21, AN1, this corresponds to the vector A summation A J1 Ej j equal to 1 to n. Okay, this vector, okay, is of unit norm 1. The norm of the vector will be 1 because they form an orthonormal basis. Therefore, this will be of unit norm. Therefore, what do I know is orbit of U1 is contained in a set of unit vectors. What are unit vectors? Whose norms are 1. Okay, right. Now I claim, okay, is this all right? Yeah. Now I don't know whether you have seen it. What this, for example, when n equal to 2, what are you looking at? Set of unit vectors x comma y such that x squared plus y equal to 1. Norm squared equal to 1. That is same as saying a circle, right? This is the set of unit vectors in R2. When n equal to 3, set of unit vectors will be x, y, z in R3, so that x squared plus y squared plus z squared, norm squared must be equal to 1. That is what is called, you call unit sphere. Of course, with center at origin, but usually it's called unit sphere. S2 in R3. So more generally, the set of n for any n, the set of unit vectors is called n minus 1 in Rn. That is n minus 1 time. We will call it n minus 1 sphere in Rn. So when n equal to 2 is a one sphere, that is nothing other than a circle. Do all of you agree with that? Okay. Okay. So what we have shown therefore is orbit of E1 is contained in Sn minus 1. This is all we have shown. Okay. Now my claim is equality holds. In other words, every unit vector is in the orbit of U1. That is, if U in Rn is a unit vector, that is norm of U equal to 1, then U belongs to the orbit of U1. This is what I want to prove. Okay. Right. So how do I prove that? Notice that this U is a unit vector. Since U is a unit vector, U is non-zero. Like in the earlier case, therefore, I can extend it to V1 equal to U to a basis V2 Vn of Rn. So this is just a basis. Remember, except V1 equal to U and it's a unit vector. Now if I apply Gram-Schmidt process, okay, I get an orthogonal basis U1, U2, Un. This is U, not U1. Okay, it's so we get orthogonal basis applied to V1, V2, Vn yields me an orthogonal basis U1 to Un in such a way that since V1 equal to U and it's already a unit vector, my U1 will be equal to U, such that this happens. See, this is what I said. Your linear algebra should be good. Okay, you must have seen these things. There you just plainly checked. You have, okay, you have to see with the geometry, then you would remember. Okay, very good. Anyway, it's all easy. If you want, you can go through my book on linear algebra, a geometric approach, where I explain all these things with geometry. Many of you may know of this book anyway. Okay. Now let's look at, now U1, U2, Un is an orthogonal basis. That means if I make a matrix A, write U again, Ui equal to summation A J I Ej, where E1, E2, Ej is the standard orthogonal basis of Rn. Okay, there J running from 1 to N. So I write it as a column vector. Now Ui I will identify with the column A1i, A2i, Ani. Okay, therefore I write this matrix U1, U2, Un. Now what do I know about this? Since U1, U2, Un form an orthogonal basis, the columns of A, okay, form an orthogonal basis, that is Ui dot Uj equal to delta Ij. That means this is an orthogonal matrix. Okay, since it's orthogonal matrix, okay, now what is A of U1? That's the first column vector, namely U1. But what is U1? That is U. Therefore, what we have shown is, given any unit vector, that is given any vector in the n minus 1 sphere in Rn, then it is in the orbit of this. Is that clear? Okay. Therefore, orbit of E1 is Sn minus 1. And again, any unit vector, U unit vector, then orbit of U is also, since U belong to orbit of E1, and that means orbit of U is same as orbit of E1. Therefore, they all unit vectors form a single orbit. Now, suppose V is some non-zero vector. What will be this orbit? Yeah. If you remember your linear algebra well, from V I can construct a unit vector U. U is of the V by norm of V. Then this will be unit vector. Right. Now, what is orbit of V? Orbit of V is set of all AV, where A is in an orthogonal matrix. But V is nothing other than A V by norm V, where A is over ON. Right? But remember, this matrix multiplication is linear. Therefore, 1 by norm V comes out. 1 by norm V into AV, okay, AU. So, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me erase. Let us be a little more careful. This is equal to A into, now let us write it, norm of V into U. Because V is norm of V into U, right? As A varies over ON. But this is a constant and matrix multiplication is linear. Therefore, this is same as norm of V into A of U as A varies over ON. So what does this mean? But I know U is fixed now, and A of U as A varies over the n minus 1 sphere and multiplied by norm V. Therefore, this is a sphere of radius norm V. What does this mean? This set of all vectors x in Rn, so that norm of x equal to norm of V. Does this remind you of something we have seen in the first lecture? You may remember I did the circle group as a subset of C acting on C by complex multiplication. We found they are concentric circles. So here the orbits are going to be concentric spheres. Okay. So take some time. Okay. So let me just note it so that, okay, therefore orbits are orbits of ON action on Rn or concentric spheres. Sphere of radius 0 is a singleton zero vector concentric spheres with the center as the origin. Okay, pause, review, then proceed. Okay, right. Now let's look at a third example. Here, my group G is GL and R, and my set X is, sorry, M and C, GL and C and M and C. That is all n cross n matrices here and all n cross n complex matrices. Okay, now what is the action? The action is you give me an A here and a T here, then A dot T, that is the group action, is A T A inverse. This is a matrix multiplication. Yeah, you can check that this is a group action because when B goes to B A T A inverse B inverse, which is same as B A inverse, right? Okay, good. Therefore, this is a group action, right? Oh, no, sorry. Before this, I forgot to do an important thing in the earlier case. I am in this case again. Okay. Now let's go to the first example and the second example. In the first example, I want to look at the stabilizer of E1. Remember, stabilizer at 0 is the full group. Okay, stabilizer of the GLN action at 0 is the full group GLN. So I want to look at stabilizer of G action on E1. So let's try to understand. So what is this? This set of all A in GLN, so that A E1 must be E1, right? But A E1, remember A of E1 is the first column. It must be 1. That means 1, 0, 0, 0. And this will be some vector. Okay, call it A12, A1n. Okay, call this vector. Okay, and this will be something star. Are you following? Because A of E1 is E1, and therefore the first column must be the E1, that is 1, 0, 0. And do I have any condition on this? No. So if A of E1 is E1, then A must be of this form. Okay, right. Is that clear? Yeah. And any matrix of this form, so suppose A is of this form, namely this, and A of E1 is E1. Is that clear? Therefore, the stabilizer is this. Now let us call this as B, whatever star this B, this n minus 1 cross n minus 1. And this is n vector. Okay. So there it's of the form 1, a vector alpha, a 0, and a matrix B. The B is in Mn minus 1. Right? Square matrix. Now determinant of A is non-zero, but determinant of A is determinant of B, therefore determinant of B is non-zero. Therefore I can say this B must be in GL n minus 1. Okay. Is that clear? And what is this? This alpha is a vector in Kn minus 1, any vector. Therefore, the stabilizer of E1 is of the form, matrix of the form 1, vector alpha, 0, B, where alpha is a vector in Kn minus 1 and B is in non-singular matrix of size GLN minus 1 in K. This is the stabilizer. Yeah? Do all of you understand? Okay. So next, let's look at the stabilizer again in the case where Y in action. Okay. Again, it's enough if we look at stabilizer of E1. Now, as we argued again, if O is in Yn R and A of E1 is E1, that means A must have 1, 0, 0, 0 here, and this must be some alpha, and this must be some B, where B is in GLN R. Sorry, GLN minus 1 R. This is exactly from the first example. Okay, do all of you understand? Whether it's because Yn is a subset of GLN. Therefore, an element of A is as an element of GLN leaves E1 invariant, then it must be of this form. Now you can say something more. What can we say? First, notice that alpha must be 0 vector in Rn minus 1. Why? Because remember, A is orthogonal. That means first row, this is the first row, that must be of norm 1. Okay, but what is first row? That is 1 plus mod alpha squared, norm alpha squared. That must be 1. That means norm of alpha must be 0. That is alpha is 0. Therefore, the first reduction is if A in Yn is such that A of E1 equal to E1, then it must be of this form and a B. And B is in GL n minus 1. We can say much more than that. Now, what will be the transpose of this? Notice that, see, this is an orthogonal matrix. Therefore, I can write this B like this 1, 0. I'm just writing this as easier way for you. Okay. B1. Okay. B2. Not B1. I think, let us say, okay. B1, B2, Bn minus 1. These are the column vectors. B is the columns of Bn minus 1. Okay. Now, what do I know about this? Now, this is A and this is in an orthogonal matrix. Therefore, the columns are form an orthogonal basis. Therefore, what do I know about Bi dot Bj? Must be delta Ij. Do you understand this? Yeah. That means B must be actually orthogonal matrix of size n minus 1. Other way of seeing that will be, you look at A transpose A. Okay. A transpose must be equal to A transpose A must be equal to identity. Use that. Then you will also get B transpose equal to B transpose B equal to identity of size n minus 1, this size n. Okay, this is very easy verification, but easier thing to see that will be, look at this column vectors, these column vectors. Okay, they must be, they form an orthogonal base of Rn minus 1. Okay, sorry, this 0 B1, 0 B2, 0 Bn minus 1. They form an orthogonal basis for Rn. That means the only thing which matters is Bi dot Bj as vectors. Okay, you follow that? Okay. So the stabilizer of U1 is of the form, a matrix of the form 1, 0, 0, and a B where B is in On minus 1. That's it. Okay. Isn't it pretty? Good. Okay. Now let us see whether we can go through another example. Do I have time for that? Okay. Now let's look at a third example. Okay. Yeah, maybe I will stop here. I will continue. I have 2 examples, 3 and 4. I will do this as the next lecture. Okay, so this should be considered as 4A and the next one will be 4B. So let me give a new name to this. This is lecture 4A. So next 2 examples, again we will continue with the linear algebra. I will call it 4B. Okay. The reason why I want to do that is these are all involved examples, and I would like you to really discuss this with your friends. And this will also allow you to learn linear algebra well. Okay, the intimate connection between linear maps and matrices, how to think of, how to generate this kind of thing. Okay, this kind of exploration and experimentation is usually not done in linear algebra courses. Okay, so it will be a nice thing. Okay, so I will continue this lecture. Yeah, right.